Everybody, Black Ninja 797 here, and welcome back to another episode of Myth-Busting Mondays. Get ready for this episode, guys, because you guys have surprised me yet again with your myth ideas. They're so unique and very creative, and I'm looking forward to showing you guys the results, especially the last one, because the last one is by far the most unique in today's video, although I love all your guys' myths, of course, but I think that this one will definitely be the one that will be the most eye-catching, and that is going to be, can you rocket ride with the grenade launcher in Left 4 Dead? You guys remember the early days of Fortnite where you could do that, where you literally would just jump on the rocket and you would just fling across the map and just ride as if it's a car? We're gonna try to do that, but in Left 4 Dead. And it may sound crazy, but just you wait, because the very last myth might surprise you. But yeah, guys, if you end up enjoying today's video, please end up dropping a like, comment, and subscribe to show your guys' support. And if there's any particular myth you would like to see featured in next week's episode, just please put them in the comment section down below. But anyways, guys, as always, let's do another episode of Myth-Busting Mondays. Myth: can Whitaker's in-game model bleed? Alright guys, so for the very first myth of today's episode, this is submitted in by Zoe. Now Zoe, this is a legitimately good question because it does make sense about why you would ask this. Of course, it's a in-game model, it's supposed to be treated like it's any other character in Left 4 Dead, so Whitaker, if we shoot him or if we melee him, should bleed, right? Well, I'm going to test that right here, right now, because I'm not exactly sure about that, like I thought I once was. Because here's the thing, is that if you go over to the gun store, Whitaker does show up as an entity, but he is treated as a cutscene pretty much because the moment he's there, he just as quickly disappears. Now I want to show you the footage here that we just got, where me and the guys are laying into him with guns, and this is going to be the most blatantly obvious thing you can choose to end up injuring this guy to make him bleed, because if you don't bleed from being shot with a gun, then you must be the Terminator, because that would make no sense. But look at this, literally he does not flinch or react whatsoever. So rather, instead of being treated as if he is a player or even a bot, I think he is much rather just a, intangible object. And because of the fact that I think he's an intangible object, I don't believe he's going to be injured by anything you throw at him. So even though this technically doesn't make sense for the results here, I'm going to have to label this as busted, because pretty much what we did was completely reasonable. We did just shoot him with a gun. I mean, the least he can do is bleed or flinch, but no, he just fades in and fades out, as almost as if he doesn't exist. So, sadly, we can't do anything with Whitaker. All he's just there to do is just to get us through the panic event. Myth: can you nullify fall damage with water? Alrighty guys, so for this next myth, this was submitted in by Glabursko. Now Glabursko, your myth also does make sense in hindsight. I mean, hypothetically, it would suck, yes, to fall in water from an extreme height in real life, but it should save you from at least a decent one if you were to fall in it, and that logic should therefore carry over to video games. So in order to test this myth properly, I wanted to find a deep body of water. Therefore, that way we can end up seeing if whether or not that is going to be the quantity of water as well. So we're going to be playing here on the finale of Death Toll at the Boathouse, because this area, in my opinion, has the biggest body of water possible for both length, width, and depth. And the thing is with this body of water is you can also end up crouching under it, and you can therefore drown, which means you can technically sink your whole entire body underneath of it. What you are currently watching on screen is me trying to get a control of the fall damage from a certain height. So my idea is to jump off the top of the boathouse and just see what my HP ends up at. Is it going to be like low HP? Is it going to be where I'm incapacitated? Is it going to kill me? And then that way we can end up seeing if whether or not I have less or more health after I've gotten my control. And here's the thing, is that from looking at this footage, it really looks like our chances are slim to none. And when I saw Dan do this, in comparison to me just jumping off and just seeing my body fall from a certain height at a certain camera angle, this myth was making me start to think twice about whether or not this was really possible. I was even looking for the littlest of differences. Like, if it was a 1 HP difference, then I could say on paper, okay, yep, confirmed. I mean, it's not going to be practical, but then I can prove it at least. But no, like, the game treats the water as if you're jumping off of a cliff. It doesn't matter the height, it doesn't matter the distance, it doesn't matter the body of water. It treats the water as if it's concrete. Now, yes, I also understand that there is that saying out there that you can land in water and it basically is treated like concrete, or at least some variant of that. But this takes that to a whole new meaning, where the game treats the water almost exactly as if it's concrete. So I think that this is a little bit silly. I think it's a little bit ridiculous that it treats it the same. But regardless, I can't change the game, and I can't code the water differently. So, sadly, this myth is busted, Glabursko. You can't protect yourself from fall damage with water. However, though, going straight into the next myth here, can you kill the witch with fall damage? Alrighty guys, this next myth was submitted in by Nitwit. Now Nitwit, when it comes to your myth, I want to make a slight modification here, my friend, and I hope you don't mind that. What me and the guys are planning on doing here is we're going to get to the highest naturally spawning part in an entire Left 4 Dead map, which is the elevator shaft of No Mercy, and we are going to spawn a witch on a platform and then just simply take the platform from underneath of her out of the equation and just make her fall straight down. This way we don't have to worry about interfering with the witch whatsoever, so there's no placebos. We don't want to be shoving the witch, we don't want to be exploding the witch, we don't want to be doing anything with the witch. We just want to have it be just only the fall damage. So I hope you understand where I'm coming from, and that's why we decided to do it this way. Also, I do want to mention two other things then. Number one, we are playing on normal mode, because this is how I test all my Left 4 Dead myths unless stated otherwise. And also, in addition to that, when it came to this particular area, I chose this because I didn't want her to be flung out of the map, like let's say by going to No Mercy's rooftop and have her just fall off of the entire building. Because I believe anything in the game is going to die of fall damage if you do it that way. I've seen the witch do that before where she's landing in a death barrier zone by just jumping off the map where she's not supposed to go. So technically you can kill her that way. But I just want to see if you can naturally do it. And I wanted to do it specifically in the elevator shaft because I feel like that's the most fair attempt. Now, this first time we were not able to kill the witch, so I was like, okay, maybe let's go a little bit higher. Not in the natural spawn part of the elevator shaft, but like let's go really high. Let's go to just before the very top of the roof. Unfortunately, there's no way you can play as the witch to be able to see her HP pool, so I'm not really sure if this is doing anything. But I was like, you know what? The bigger the better. So let's spawn her up here and just see if that little bit in difference will be able to end up killing her. And that's what we decided to do with this attempt. If this doesn't work, I am personally confident in labeling the myth. But let's end up taking a look just to see what happens before we even proceed. Alrighty, here we go. So here comes the witch. She is pissed off at me, and we're about to remove the floor out from underneath of her. And we're just going to watch as she crashes down to the top of the elevator from falling down the elevator shaft. And she's not even remotely phased. She just goes right to targeting Glabursko. Even right after she fell, I was thinking to myself, being like, you know what, I'm just curious to see if she did lose any HP at all by doing this. So I took my hunting rifle and I decided to shoot her in the head a couple of times and just do some basic math and be like, okay, the witch has this amount of health and the hunting rifle does this amount of damage. How many shots do I have to do to fully kill the witch after that fall damage? And I was looking just to see if she perceived anything, like even if it was a little bit. Because, I mean, if over time, if you kept doing it, then sure, she would eventually die, but I don't even think this was doing anything. And lo and behold, I did 12 headshots to the witch. Now, 12 headshots to the witch on normal mode with a hunting rifle is essentially what it would take to kill her if she had absolutely full HP. And that pretty much means that this did nothing to her. But now, Nitwit, I do want to once again point out, I've seen the witch die several times of fall damage if she runs out of the map. I know that that's definitely possible. And since the fact that I did go against one of your requests for your myth, and that could have led to the myth being different, I'm going to label it as plausible. I just believe, given the circumstances of what we experienced and what you were requesting, I think that this is just the most fair. Myth. Can a tank launch another tank with its rock throw? Alrighty guys, so for the second to last myth, we have got a myth by ElectroP. Now ElectroP, thank you for joining the Discord, my G. I see this is the first time you've left a myth, so thank you for participating. But I like this myth that you came up with here. I don't know if you've experienced this yourself and you just want to include this in the episode to share your knowledge, or if you just don't know that this works, but you just came up with the idea randomly in your head. But I like what you're thinking with here. So here is our attempt at trying to replicate this. We're on the dead center streets, and we have Glabursko and Dan trying to fling rocks underneath of each other, kind of like what you would do with the idea of the grenade launcher flinging a player, but instead we're just using with a rock. And yeah, it works. It legitimately works. So yeah, this is a new one. You can use a tank rock to fling another tank, and it's really fun to do this. It's really fun to do this. I would love to see if you were to get this done in tank mode, where you could have a tank fling another tank at a survivor. Can you imagine how terrifying that would be, just to be one of the survivors and you see a tank and it's fucking flying at you? Like, bro, if I'm playing tank mode and there's a tank that can fly, I'm done. I retire. But yep, my G, your myth is confirmed, and it was a lot of fun to test, so thank you for submitting it my way. Alright, and now we move on to the final myth, and once again, it is going to be, can you rocket ride in Left 4 Dead 2? Let's jump straight to it. Myth, can you rocket ride in Left 4 Dead 2? Alrighty everybody, the final myth was submitted in by Saturn. Now Saturn, thank you for making your myth, I appreciate you, it's really cool to have you featured in an episode, my G. Now here's the thing, is that in the game already as it stands, you can do this vertically. You can just shoot a grenade at a player's foot, and they will go flying. They could have patched this out of the game a long time ago, they could have removed it and basically called it a glitch, but it's kind of a staple Left 4 Dead. So it's still possible within the current means of the game as it still stands. And it should make sense for you to do it horizontally. It's just that it's very difficult to imagine doing this because your timing is going to have to be a lot more better than if you were doing vertically. Vertically, you're just spam jumping. Horizontally, you're timing it. So I just decided to spam it in slow motion and just hope for the best. And here's the thing, is that what you're about to see is unbelievable. I do it, but I fling the complete wrong direction. Now see, that's cool and everything, but was that a fluke? In fact, I was actually so convinced that it was a fluke, I was watching the footage back, and that's why you saw me being idle, because I was like, that was such a weird result that I can't even remotely begin to explain why that happened, because it worked, but it worked in a way that I was not expecting. It flung me in a way that defied the laws of physics, not one way, but two completely different ways. There's no invisible barrier where I'm standing, so it's not like it bounced off of anything. And look, I even did it again! And I flung even further this time. I don't know why, but for some reason, every single time we do this, it only works if I fly behind the guys, not in front of them. I can't reach my destination if I'm going forward. I have to do it backwards. So in conclusion, when it comes to this myth of whether or not you can horizontally rocket ride in Left 4 Dead, it is confirmed. But for the life of me, I do not know why I'm being flung backwards, because it's consistently doing it. Who knows, maybe we can have a myth upon this in itself in a future episode, but as it stands, at least it works. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it here for today's episode of Myth Busting Mondays. And I do truly hope you guys end up enjoying. Those were a lot of fun myths that you guys submitted my way. So just thank you, as always, for participating in this series. It makes me very happy, and I hope it makes you happy too. If you also want to be involved in this series and have a myth of your own, please, once again, feel free to put it in the comment section down below, or even do it in my Discord. I have a designated Myth Busting Mondays tab within there, and I highly encourage you guys to join. We have over 200 members, and I'd love to chit-chat with you guys in there. There's a link, once again, also in the description. If you guys would like to financially support the channel, you can always go check out my Patreon, and once again, it's always linked down below my descriptions, good old YouTube descriptions. Or you guys could use supporter creator code BlackNinja797 in all caps in the Fortnite Epic Games item shops, because Epic's my very first sponsor, and they were sponsoring today's video, so shout out to Epic Games. But yeah, guys, I hope you end up enjoying seeing another YouTube video from the most unique YouTubers you're ever going to see. Thank you for watching, guys. I love you, and peace out.
Hey, meme lords. Jesus here, and you better have enjoyed that video there by the eternal god Daddy Ninja. You should probably subscribe too, or the mighty Moab will come for your balls. If you enjoyed the video, you might like it too, and give me the memes. Flash, bang, boom!